everybody, hope you are all doing well. Happy Friday. And again, another week down. This week, I wanted to do another tutorial test where I take a Natasha Denona eyeshadow tutorial. This one's originally from her gold palette, but I don't have her gold palette. Instead, I'm going to use the Alter Ego Dupe palette, the Goddess palette. I believe this runs you 15 to 20 bucks, something like that. But yeah, this is definitely a dupe for her palette. I have mixed feelings about brands that just do duping kind of things. But yeah, if you don't have the money and you want the color story, you kind of can understand it, but obviously the quality and the color story cannot be matched when you use Alter Ego. But we will see how close this look will look to how Natasha's ended up. Full disclosure, I tried doing this look yesterday and I messed it up. So here I am for a good round two to try to get this a little bit better. I kind of blended it out a little too much. It wasn't what I wanted. So I wanted to do better for myself, and just know that that happens with makeup, like especially things on Instagram or even on YouTube. It's just makeup. It washes off. You can try again. You can, it's not a big deal if something doesn't go exactly how you wanted it to go. But for this video, I wanted it to be a little bit closer because I'm trying to follow along with her instructions. So hopefully I will do a little bit better today. But first, I'm going to just prime up my eyes with some Milani eyeshadow primer. I also put some face primer on. I'm going to let that just kind of sink in while I do the shadow. I am using the Neutrogena Prep and Correct primer. I really like this primer. It feels really nice on my skin. I think with Neutrogena, you can definitely hopefully have a little bit more trust in what's being put into your skin, but my skin felt a little bit dry, so I wanted to prime that up and kind of have something soak in while we are doing some shadow. So, interestingly enough, her first step is to not use any brushes, and this is why I kind of like doing these tutorials, is because Natasha does eyeshadow and applies the eyeshadow in very different ways than I would, and I am no cosmetologist. I did not go to school. I've learned everything just from watching YouTube from 10 years ago till now. That's where I've picked everything up. YouTube and probably like Instagram tutorials, that sort of thing. But I love being able to see different artists use different applications for shadows and things, and can turn out just as beautiful looks. It just shows that this is just kind of an art. Like, there's no one way to do something. So she first goes in, and I'm going to be referencing the shade names within the Goddess palette, but I will put a picture, as I normally do, up in the corner so that you can see exactly which shade I am dipping into here. But I'm going to go into Freya, which is our kind of lightest shimmer shade, and this one I think perhaps is a bit more glitter-based than the one that's in the Natasha Denona palette, just because I don't feel like I see as much of kind of this glitter reflect, but she just taps them right in kind of the brow bone area. So I'm just going to tap it in, and you can see that there is definitely some more kind of like glitteriness right there than I think you can kind of see on the Natasha Denona one, but nevertheless, we will still follow suit and have kind of that glitzier brow moment. And that's another thing, is the glitter is already kind of falling down onto my eye, and I definitely think you can see it on the palette too. The glitter is not kind of as held, or packed as tightly perhaps as maybe a Natasha Denona shadow, but I think it's perhaps to be expected with a brand that's doing a dupe. You may not get, obviously, the best kind of quality shadows, but we're just looking for the overall kind of thing if it all ends up working out. So I now want to go into kind of a more little, this is a concealer brush from e.l.f, but I really like using this for pinpointed kind of detail work along my lash line. So the next step she kind of does is she puts the darkest blue kind of green matte shade that they have and kind of smudges it a little bit on the outer corner and then brings it up just a little bit right into kind of this crease area. Yesterday when I biffed, I kind of went a little too high up and then built all the color within here, but she doesn't really do that. It more so just kind of stays right within the crease. So I'll show you what I mean. So it's really just kind of this outer corner shape here, just the V that you go right into your crease. Now I just need to take a little bit of kind of a fluffier brush and blend out the shadow. So I know we add in later some more of Gaia, kind of the darker matte shade, and I think for now I'll just keep it as is because I could always add more, but I think later we'll kind of blend in a little bit more of the deepness, but for now we'll just keep with where she be. Now we're gonna go into Valkyrie, which is a beautiful kind of brassy gold color that's going to play really well with the duochrome in our next step. But the first step is just to take Valkyrie and pack it on the first inner half of the lid. You can also see within this step that some is put into the inner corner, so I'm going to kind of apply some of Valkyrie there as well. All right, then our next step, I love Cassandra, which is the duochrome, although I feel like I kind of want to add a little bit more of the Gaia color, just because it's going to kind of touch that area and I really want the shift to come through. So I'm just going to go back in with my tiny little pinpointed brush here and add just a little bit more of that color right into the crease, and let me blend that a little bit. All right, now we will go into Cassandra right on our finger, and this is our beautiful duochrome shade. It's almost trichrome actually, now that I look at it. It kind of hits almost peach into gold into green. Now what I should have learned from yesterday is that it may have been a good idea to apply a glitter glue, but I didn't. So just note that with these shades, they're a little bit flaky, so it might be nice to have a glitter glue a little bit more tacky to kind of hold together those glitter pigments, just so that you don't have as much fallout. But that's also why I do all my complexion after. So now she goes into the really pretty kind of mustardy shade within here and goes and blends out the transition area. Now we probably have a little bit already because I had some residue left on this brush, but just kind of go out here and blend in some of that pretty mustard shade. And now into Hera, which is more so of kind of like the neutral matte that we have, our lightest matte, and we're gonna put that on this inner portion. I am loving how this is looking. I'm going to put on the rest of my face and then I will bring you back in for that lower lash line. All right, so I have the rest of my face pretty much on. It's interesting, I'm seeing, and this definitely can be because of the shadows and my hooded eyes, that kind of all the matte shades that we put on basically look just like shimmers, because when I open up my eye, pretty much all that glitter and shimmer eyeshadow goes up to like this point. And we also had the fallout from the one that we put on with our fingers, so it basically just looks like a lot of shimmer on the lid, which I don't dislike per se, but it's just something to kind of note. Now, Gaia is put all within into the waterline and then kind of smudged out below, so that's what I am going to do now. All right, and then our last step, going into Pandora, which is kind of our lightest shimmer shade after Freya, or the lightest one that we put on the brow. We're gonna put that right in the inner corner and then also bring that down on that lower lash line a little bit. I love how the gold overlaps with kind of the greeny bluiness of the Gaia shade. It's very, very pretty, and I definitely enjoy kind of the smokiness that's underneath as well. One thing that is weird though is to not kind of blend that out for me, but you know, we will keep her as is. I'm going to pop on some mascara and I'll bring you back. All right, everybody, and here we have our completed look. I'm excited to see kind of how close this ended up to the Natasha Denona one. I absolutely love how the black mascara looks on this as well. There's just something really rich about it. It is very Packer fan, but we're good with that. I am from Wisconsin after all. I am a cheesehead. But no, I love kind of how the deepness of this kind of like, I don't know, it's a green blue kind of shade, but turns very green when kind of blended out. And obviously, especially when you put a duochrome that shifts to green, it's just really pretty. And I think that's something that I cannot give credit to Alter Ego. I definitely am giving to Natasha Denona for being able to kind of see and recognize that those shades look so beautifully together, work so beautifully together, and look so beautiful together. And yeah, I love kind of that smokiness on that lower lash line. It's just really a very beautiful look. Yeah, I just definitely enjoy it. If you have the Goddess palette, perhaps you will try this out for yourself. And I think that's what's really cool about this palette, is that you can do something that looks so green. I mean, if you were to look at this eye compared to this palette, I don't know if you would really think like, I made this look from this. And I think that's pretty cool. But then obviously there's so much warmth within here as well, so you could really just make a very gold toned look. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you on the next one. Wherever you are and whatever you may be doing, I hope you are able to do something you love every single day. All right, bye guys!